commentary stream where I, well, Walter or Neon the Fox, looks at different Digimon in the Digimon Reference Manual. Yep, that kind of gives you a good idea. We're still going through the champions. This time we're actually we're going to be starting with more of the cat Digimon. I'm going to quickly head down to them. For those who are new to this, the way how this works is I give my opinion on the Digimon design, what I like, what I dislike about the design. I read the description. I give what I would change about the design, and then give about 30 seconds of a rest period. Some designs I may skip, generally because they are, how do I put it, recolors, and there isn't much to say about a recolor unless there's something I think that's worth noting about the design. But yeah, that is how this goes. Other news, still working on the Area 51 review. There's been a couple things coming up. This might be the only stream this month, as I have some things coming up later. So just a quick update on that. Other news, remember to go watch Digi Destiny this Saturday from the Schmuck Squad. They do an amazing job. And yeah, highly recommend watching them. This is a community stream, so if there's things you want to say or comment or ask me, you can. It's perfectly reasonable to do. I like interacting with you guys. Sometimes you guys bring up things that I may have missed with a design. And with that, it's best we start with our first Digimon of the day, Meicoomon. Meicoomon, a champion Digimon characterized by large ears and tail. Though hard to imagine from the sight of its soft forward, cute form, Meikoomon's paws conceal extremely sharp nails. The two feelers that extend from Meikoomon's neck are not only perfect for hiding the shy creature's face, they also make an excellent muffler when it's cold. Meikoomon uses its special move, Shut Claw, to scratch the opponent with its sharp claws. Oh, great. Our Tricobezior, we're going to try our best with that, to spit out a hairball capable of destroying data. So, we have another cat Digimon, actually unique compared to the Gatomon line of Digimon. Meicoomon first appeared in Digimon Tri, which I think as of recently has been rendered non-canon because of the novel, the O2 novel. I'm not too certain on that. I haven't read it, so I don't know too much. Before you ask, I actually quite liked Tri, but Digimon Adventure has gotten very weird in recent years, so yeah. But as for the design, as for Meicoomon, I like that they made a cat Digimon and didn't just copy Gatomon. Because so much of the cat Digimon are just Gatomon. They're slowly moving away from it with one of the last Digimon we saw, but it's still prevalent. Things about the design. So I like that it's different. Things about the design I like. It's a big fluffy cat. I like cats. We've got orange brown coloring. It's interesting they added the M onto the head, although I don't know if that's supposed to be shadow or deliberate. I'm assuming it's deliberate because Meicoomon. So I like that it's a cat. Things that I dislike, not the biggest fan of the zigzag pattern on the muffler and on the tail. I think that's a bit much for the design. The crisscross braiding on the end is also a bit much, but I can kind of understand what they're going for. As for what I would change about the design, so Meicoomon is based off of the Maine Coon. This is a type of cat they are very famous for being large animals. I think they're one of the larger pet cats you can get there. They are big, they have a lot of fur, they are a furry animal. And they're quite nice, from what I understand, also very gentle. In the case of Meikumon, I think they would have done better to kind of emphasize that element to make Meikumon maybe a bit bigger from a design aspect. Make her design slightly bigger, just to emphasize that main Kun connection. I would also omit some of the filigree on the pelt because it overly complicates the design, and we already have a very complex design. Megamon is a good idea and concept. It's just a little too complex, and I think they need to dial it back a little. But overall, I do give Meikumon the perfect. It's a very neat design, and I quite like Meikumon. I actually got, well, when they released, I think the 25th anniversary Digivices, so the 25th or 20th, I actually bought both of them. One just because they were available, and the other because I wanted Meikumon. Although I don't think I unlocked Meikumon in that, so But yeah, I like Cat Digimon. But yeah, to rephrase, I like Meikumon because it's a cat Digimon and it's different from your standard Gatomon. I dislike the addition of these extra filigree on the well, just that zigzag. I think it's a bit excessive. And if I were to change this, I would omit that and make the design a little more simplified and maybe even a bit bigger to emphasize that this is a main Kun. So, with that, we're going to give it 30 seconds. This is a slow day. I'll try and go through as many of the Digimon as I can, but if there's no one watching, I may end stream early. We'll see how this goes. So going back. Mechanorimon. A power suit Digimon used by small-sized Digimon, making it the first vehicle species Digimon in the digital world. Mechanorimon is unique as it cannot control itself and must be piloted by other Digimon at all times, or it cannot function. Given its virus attribute, the Digimon controlling it can also be considered a virus Digimon. It is still in development, meaning its Digicore will overheat if it uses too much. Its special move, Gyro Break, is an explosive mechanical corkscrew punch, and Twinkle Beam is fired from its linear lens embodied in its torso. Any enemy hit by the Twinkle Beam loses control of their body. So, my connection with Mechanorimon is in the Digimon TCG, back when I played it. Mechanorimon was the blocker Digimon. You wanted to use it because they were, if I remember correctly, very easy to get onto the field, and they were perfect for blocking. As the meta changed, Digimon that can block have kind of disappeared, and it's generally that's like a low-level amateur technique. This is one of the reasons I don't like playing the TCG. It very quickly becomes an arms race of just wild rules. That's why I don't like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because it's become a wild race. It's also why I don't play Magic. It's become a wild arms race. But in any case, Mechanorimon did appear in Adventure as a vehicle kind of monster. I believe Genai controlled him briefly. But I don't think they use Mechanorimon as a vehicle that often. As for the design, it's a mech suit. It kind of reminds me of Chrono Trigger, one of the robot characters. And I kind of wonder if that was the intent. I know Chrono Trigger was very influential at the time and very well regarded. One of these days I need to play it. And Toriyama is Toriyama. As for the design, other than that with the design, I really do like the arms are that this... Oh, hello there, the UU Gamer Plays 30. We're just going over the different designs. Currently we're on Mechanorimon. I was about to say that one of the things I liked about Mechanorimon was the arms, because they're a bit different from, say, your standard mechanical arms, because they're more like a ribbon. And I don't see that too often in robot designs anymore. They lean more towards a harder, like mechanical movement, more solid. So it's interesting to see this design. Other things about the design I like. Um, well, it looks kind of like a small mech suit. Love Digimon a lot. Yep. Uh, that's kind of what we do here. We kind of look at the different designs and I give my commentary on them, what I like, what I dislike, and what I would change. Uh, all subjective. Some of my opinions can be bad takes, but you know how it is. Yeah, but currently we're on Mechanorimon. Just subscribed. Nice. Good to see someone that's subscribed. Yeah, I try to do this every other week as a means to, well, get people interested. One of these days I might upgrade to go to games, but it's hard to say. But yeah, going over Mechanorimon, it's a mech Digimon. It's certainly a lot different from, like, say, an SD Gundam or the like. So it leans more towards the steampunk and, like I said, the Chrono Trigger robot. The things I don't like about the design, uh, the organic features underneath, I think, are a bit. I think they kind of pull away from it. I know why they added it, because they want to have that continuity with different Digimon and that sort of meat moss appearance some cybernetic Digimon had at the time. I think it's a bit excessive, but understandable. The steam gauges are also maybe a bit much. As for what I would change with the design, really, I would probably just omit the meat moss aesthetic, and that would be it. This is one of those perfect designs, I would say. It works well, it reads well, it's a decent Digimon. So the recap, what I like the arms, just how they're designed. Uh, I like the pseudo connection to Chrono Trigger. I don't like the meat moss eye, and if I were to change it, I'd admit it. But overall, it's a pretty neat design. Uh, at this point, I then give about 30 seconds to breathe and save my throat. Well, voice. Voice comes from throat. Actually, I don't think. Nah, Mechanorimon does appear in a lot of the games. If it seems like I'm constantly looking to the left, I have a second screen that I use to reference what people are asking and commenting and to see how the stream's doing. So if it seems like I'm constantly moving, it's because I'm constantly checking. The setup I have is very. eh, it's not the best. I should do some repairs and fix on it. But next Digimon we have is Meramon. Meramon, a fire Digimon whose body is shrouded in crimson flames. Digimon generated by the defensive firewall built to prevent illegal intrusion into networks such as the internet. Maramon's violent temperament reflects the flames surrounding it, burning everything it touches to a crisp. Possessing the most powerful flames of its ilk on File Island, this Digimon is extremely difficult to tame. Even those who tame it can't predict when it will turn on them. Meramon uses a special move, Burning Fist, to flare up its arms before punching the opponent. So, Meramon famously appeared in Digimon Adventure, where it was messing with. I forgot what the pre evolution of Biomon is. But it was famously in that episode, from what I understand, trying to get itself off fire. It's been a while since I've seen the episode, but it's one of the more famous ones. He would later appear as an ally in Adventure, and I think even into Adventure 02. But other than that, Meramon is one of those Digimon that's kind of there. I don't think they use Meramon too often anymore, but he does pop up from time to time. Uh, as a connection I had to it in the Digimon World DS game, Championship World, I remember I had a Agumon that became a toy Agumon, and then it became one of the Meramon evolutions, and I was always confused why it did that. And that was like one of the first times I realized that Digimon evolutions are weird. But those things happen. As for the design itself, we basically have a fireman. I'm actually very surprised that this went through censorship, and the reason I say that is when Fantastic Four first appeared on television. Yeah, Digimon is just an amazing franchise, and I do like some of the designs for them. Yeah, it's it's interesting to see what designs are out there, especially the out of the way ones you don't expect or have only appeared once or twice. Uh, Things like DigiDestiny give a good use of showing them appearing in other areas. Uh, Marimon, for instance, I'm actually surprised they use because when Fantastic Four got its television show, there was a concern that kids would light themselves on fire in emulating the Human Torch. That might seem weird to us now to hear, but some of the things I've read that kids do, and as someone who was a child and remembered some of the stupid stuff I've done, I can kind of understand the concern. Uh, in the case of Meramon, I'm a bit surprised that this they didn't change the design or that it was allowed to keep. So I don't know if there's some different cultural understanding or if it was just this is a cool thing, let's keep it. Or maybe it's just the fact that it doesn't light itself on fire, it's just a fire being. As for the design itself, I do like that it's an easy to read and simple thing. It's a fireman. It's a guy on fire. Uh, and I have to admit that just that easy to read element works. As for what I would change, that is very hard because this design is so simplistic. I can't really think of much to change. Um, I guess about the only thing I would change is maybe add some kind of like skeleton underneath to give an idea that it's spooky. But that's like half-hearted. Um, Given how recognizable this Digimon is and how I can't really think of what to change with it, I'd have to give this design one of the perfects. It's easy to read and it comes across very understandable what it is. Um, so yeah, I like that it's a simple to read design. I like that about the only thing I would change is add some kind of skeleton underneath, and about the only thing I dislike about it is I'm just a bit concerned, just that Fantastic Four connection. But even then, that's nothing. Yep, that's right, Renamon 5658 Fire. Um, like I said, not much to say about the design. It works, it knows what it is, and it gets the perfect. Um, I will say the stitches on the mouth are weird, but it does add to the creepy factor of the design. I've watched all 6 seasons of Digimon World. Which season would be your favorite? Oh wow. When I did the review, I only went to the fourth season. At some point, I need to look at Data Squad, and then what was after Data Squad, and Cross Wars, and then at some point I need to watch all of Ghost Game, and then Beat Break, and I've seen all of Applemon, which I liked. This the season of Digimon I like is going to have to be Tamers. I realize that's a very basic answer, but watching it, that's a season I can go back and watch numerous times. I've seen it like 2 times at this point, I think even three. Uh, it really, given where Digimon is going now, Which season has Digimon as the best villains? I'll get to that. I'll say with Tamers, seeing where Digimon's going now, where they're going for more mature stories, Tamers is kind of like the proto of that, and it's just it's still a kids anime, but they did so much with it for the writing. Say what you will about Kanaka, and there's a lot of things that there are problems with, especially recently. Uh, Tamers is still good. Following that, I'd probably have to go with Adventure, and then probably Applemon. As for which season has the best villains, um, not Adventure. I think Adventure is very the villain. They keep stacking villains, and it kind of goes downhill. O2, I liked the villains. I liked the Digimon Emperor, and I liked Orikawa. I just wish they spent more time with them. As much as I wanted to say I like Tamers, uh, until you get to the D Reaper, the villains are kind of there's not much to really say about them. And for Applemon, uh, Applemon is okay. Applemon has some story problems, which one day I need to review. Oh, and Frontier, not much to say. Of them, I'd have to say O2 has the best villains. Uh, if only because they have villains that are consistently used through the season. One of the issues I find with Digimon in general is they'll have a villain, and then they quickly get rid of them, and then they add another villain, and then they get rid of him, and then add another villain. At least that's what I saw with the first four seasons. I don't know if that's changed with. I've seen Cross Wars. I don't know if that was to change with Cross Wars, and I don't know how different that was with Data Squad because I've never seen Data Squad. And I don't know much about Ghost Game or Beat Break because I didn't see a lot of Ghost Game. It didn't look interesting. And I'm trying to hold off on Beat Break till all the episodes come out. But yeah, of the villains, it would have to be the O2 villains. Just because they keep them consistent. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel with the Digimon series. Tamers is the best, but the O2 villains I think are better. And Frontier's villains are. Don't ask me about the games because I haven't played a lot of the Digimon games, and their stories can be a bit wild at times. Followed by Meramon, we have Meramon X antibody. So we're going to read the X antibody description. Meramon X Antibody's temper has grown more violent than ever, and if it ever finds an invading virus Digimon, it will fly off into a rampage as it pummels them, despite being a data Digimon itself. Its utter fearlessness in facing virus Digimon comes from its newfound ability to create a barrier called the X Patch, using the power accumulated in its right hand. This both protects it from attacks made by viruses and allows it to use the special move X Radiate to burn its foes down to nothing. So here we have Meramon X. They've simplified the design, a lot less fire. It looks more like a guy wearing a yellow. Actually, it looks like an alien, a yellow alien with some fire V-neck. They added an X for X antibody in the bit. I don't know. I don't like this design. I think my problem is they simplified Meramon way too much. And I mean, it's cool that it added the X, which I like, but it's like, could we've added it somewhere on the body instead of an Omnitrix? I mean, I feel like I'm watching one of Ben 10's heroes. And I realize this probably came out before Ben 10. My knowledge of time is weird. They've made the arms a bit bigger, which is an interesting thing to do. I don't know. The design. I'm reading a lot of Ben 10, and that can be both a good or bad thing. In this case, I think it's going a bit too much bad. He's giving me a He-Man vibes. I can see that with the arms because I know a lot of the He-Man characters were designed to be easy to be turned into toys. I can see it now because of the what was it called? He-Man's sword has a name and I forgot it, but I can see what you're going for. I have the power. Anyway, um, is it you're reading He-Man? I'm reading more Ben 10. This is why I like interacting with you guys because seeing these differences. Um, I think what's getting me for this design is you already had a perfect design in Marimon, and this trying to change it doesn't do much. I mean, I have to say what I like. I like that it still looks like Marimon. What I don't like, uh, it looks like a guy wearing. It looks like a yellow alien with fire. It's a Ben 10 character. If I were to change it, go back to the original Marimon and add an X to its chest. Um, they took a perfect design and had trouble with it. It looks like a toy. It looks like something. It looks like a Ben 10 toy. So it's. I'm not gonna say much. One of the things I was thinking, I wanted to ask you guys: would you guys be interested if I were to next time I do a stream, if I were to do Digimon World New Order? Or would you prefer if I just go through all the champions before switching things up? But yeah, moving on to the next design. The reason I'm asking is I liked going through the rookies, but going through the champions, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I want to change things up. I would have taken his base design and all the flame bits that remained on his design and had them more pronounced. That I can see that. Maybe turn them blue or green. I mean, there is a Marimon variant that is more of a. Ooh, there. I believe there is a Marimon that's blue, and there is a further evolution Skull Marimon that has blue. But I can see what you're going for, especially since blue flames are hotter. Actually, if I remember correctly, if you use propane, blue flame. If you see a blue flame, that's a good sign. If you see a red flame, that's a bad sign. Sword Gray Skull, and I would like to see a Let's Play. That would be interesting. I may have to put up a poll at some point, just to change things up. Before anyone asks, I don't know if I'll be seeing the Masters of the Universe film. The only He-Man I grew up with was the He-Man from early 2000s when it aired on Toonami. I didn't have much connections with He-Man outside of YouTube poops and Robot Chicken. But that being said, we have Mikemon, or as I sometimes call them, Mike-mon. Mikemon, a beast Digimon resembling a calico cat. Latent Nyaromon data in Mikemon's rookie form manifests. Why am I having pronunciation problems? Latent Nyaromon data in Mikemon's rookie form manifests itself when the Digimon achieves champion form. Mikaimon is not a Holy Beast Digimon, however, and it lacks a Holy Ring. A clever Digimon, it is normally quiet and docile. In battle, however, it toys with its foes using agile movements and a special melee techniques. It uses its signature move, Paw Punch, to strike with hardened paw pads. Its special move, Cat Claw, involves raking the enemy with sharp claws. So Mikaimon is interesting because we don't actually see Mikaimon all that often in Digimon. If I'm correct, Mikaimon appeared once in Cross Wars, but other than that, Mikaimon is one of the cat Digimon that doesn't appear that often, and I think it's a design a lot of people forget about. Bro looks like Meicoomon before Meicoomon existed. That is true. Mikaimon has been around for a while, but the big difference is Mikaimon goes more for a calico cat. Meicoomon goes for a Maine Coon cat. So basically you have a short hair and a long hair. Very long hair. Very big long hair cat. As for Mikaimon, it is a recolor of Gatomon, but I would argue it's different enough that it does warrant its own thing. I will say it's interesting that compared to Gatomon, they made the paws actually fit the Digimon. I know with Gatomon, the gloves it wears is in canon, in lore, it's supposed to be data from another Digimon to act as protection. Here, it's just these are Mikaimon's paws, and I quite like that concept. We also have the calico stripe pattern, which I also like. Look, I like cats. We actually have a cat. We don't have a cat. There's a stray cat near that we care for, and she just had kittens. Yay. So, yeah, I like cats. But yeah, Mikaimon, I like the design. It's a cat. But I think what I like about Mikaimon is they did a few things with the art design in order to make it different from Gatomon. As they brought up, they omit the golden ring, and the paws on its hand are different. They're not from another Digimon. So I do like they tried something different, and they made it more of a connected design rather than Gatomon, where some of the colors are a bit weird. As for what I dislike about the design, I think the ear tufts are a bit excessive, especially since those are more indicative of a lynx, which is kind of where Gatomon leans towards. If I were to change the design, I would probably omit those tufts, possibly keep it on the tail, but that's yeah. But overall, I like Mikaimon as a design. It's a very good design, even though it's just Gatomon. Look, this is one of those instances where a recolor gets a pass because it's different enough from the original. But yeah, I like Mikaimon's design. Is it perfect? It's still Gatomon's design, and I hate to say that that's kind of where it doesn't change too much from Gatomon to really get that perfect, because I do think Gatomon and Black Gatomon do get the perfects. Mikaimon, I hate to be like Digimon and say, oh, it's the third wheel. It's kind of the third wheel, and I do feel they could have done something to change the design, maybe a little. Something that it doesn't just look like they copied Gatomon. So it's very close to getting the perfect, but it's not there. So to recap, I like it because it's a cat. I like cats. I don't like the tufts. I think those are a bit excessive, especially compared to basically all the cats have them. And if I were to change them, I would omit these and possibly, while we're at it, maybe also have the calico coat continue on the gloves. What is with me today? But overall, it's a pretty good design. It just barely. It's just this close to getting the perfect. 30 seconds. Actually, I think in some stories, Mekumon, sorry, not even third wheel, Mekumon pulled up and sent him straight to the fourth wheel status. Yeah, that's kind of the thing you get when you have a design that's so drastically different from Godhomon. Although I do think in some games they imply Mikemon does become Leopardmon, but I think that varies from game to game. Um, I don't think they've really cemented the Royal Knight lines. They seem to go back and forth on that. But yeah, it it's one of those. This is kind of one of the issues you get with recolors. You can get a recolor that has a great design, but if the color, but if all you change is just the color and not something more to the design, you can get something like Mikemon and Makomon. Ugh, they keep going back and forth, where a design can quickly be shunted off. Although I wonder what an X antibody Mikemon would look like. I'm actually surprised they don't do more X antibodies for the cat Digimon. Honestly, they'd be more interesting rather than Nightmon being able to become almost half the Royal Knight roster. This is one of the things with Digimon. The Royal Knights are so early in the development of Digimon that they never really formalized lines. I know recently part of the design commentary on the Digimon was to make it that you could see where the Digimon go to. That was one of the things the creator Beat Break said they wanted to do. And we're starting to see that with some of the more recent Digimon. Whether or not that's a good idea or a bad idea is we'll see. I know part of the advantage of Digimon is the designs can go everywhere. And I do remember when people were making their Digimon lines and saying, it tells a story. But yeah, at some point they do need to they need to do something with the Royal Knight rosters. Some of them have worked, some of them haven't. But like I said, when you have a series that's been around as long as Digimon and to an extent Pokemon, some of the design quirks and lore can kind of they may not fit with how things are being changed or being used. Something I'm learning a lot with Warhammer 40k, because some of the things they do with that, some of the old lore doesn't work anymore. Mimicmon, a champion Digimon thought to be a mutation of security software for protecting computers. Having captured and taken in virus types that invade its territory, Mimicmon itself has now taken on a virus attribute. Many Digimon are sealed within its body, and each of the arms and horns sticking out of the cage are thought to be separate Digimon. Renamon 5658. How many Royal Knights are there? I know the Wyvern and Lady Nightmon got replaced in some seasons. Let me quickly get that up. So I know they're referenced to Arthurian legend, but the problem with that is Arthurian legend goes back and forth. Ashdust9832 says 13. According to the Digimon wiki, there's one, not including alternate forms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. There is 13. So yeah, Ashdust9832 is correct. So technically, the Royal Knights can be Organization 13. But yeah, before anyone asks, I don't know how many Knights of the Round Table there were. That number has always changed depending on the story and the telling and on the adaptation, because sometimes it's a few, sometimes it's a lot, and it's inconsistent. Uh, but on the other hand, but yeah, Mimicmon, as the name implies, we have a Mimic Digimon. For those who don't know, Mimics are a very popular monster in Dungeons and Dragons. The idea being a chest or any being can be a Mimic. Ashdust 9832. There's also Imperial Dramon, but he just found them. He's not actually a member, if I remember the lore right. I believe so as well. I think he is a reference to Arthur Pendragon in the whole thing. Again, Royal Knight lore is weird, uh, especially when you take into account that. Okay, quick side tangent off of Mimicmon. The Royal Knights as a group officially did not appear, if I remember correctly, until Frontier. And at the time, the Royal Knights were just Crusadermon and Lord Knightmon. And I think the name was later added in. Now, the reason I may be wrong with this is I know the VPET lore can get all over the place. Plus, we have the manga, which adds their own stuff. Look, again, Digimon is one of those franchises where there is a lot of storytelling and a lot of different universes that they can contradict each other all the time. Especially now that we've seen with Digimon, the Digimon O2 novels, where apparently Adventure and O2 are canon, but Tri, Last Evolution, and Hurricane Touchdown, and I think Digimon Beginning are non-canon, but they might be canon. But now this story is canon, which means it's probably going to be canon for about another 5 years until they eventually release Digimon 03, where then. But yeah, but I'm going on a tangent. But yeah, as Renamon 5658 says, Mimicmon looks more like a cage than a chest. One of the fun things about mimics in Dungeons and Dragons is they can look like a bunch of things. Chests are the traditional way they're looked in order to catch adventurers off guard. If you've ever seen Freerin, the common joke of her getting stuck in a mimic kind of comes from that. Um, Realistically, this leans more to like compressing a Digimon if what they're saying is it's taking on data. But as for the design itself, we have a cage with a bunch of things coming out of it. It does look like a low level enemy that would try to fight you, especially with all the things it has. Try to catch you to make it a part of itself, which with computing, yeah, that happens on occasion. You kind of have to be careful, depending on what links you type and use. What I like about the design is it does look like a hodgepodge of monsters that you really want to be careful around because, yeah, it's going to get you. As for what I dislike about the design, I kind of would have liked to have seen different Digimon parts that are recognizable. Here it's just, oh yeah, we've got bluish green teal arm and a purple arm and a wing and some other parts. And I kind of would have liked it if they showed that there were some recognizable Digimon parts. As for what I would change with the design, maybe change the cage to look a bit more like a maw, like it's a mouth that eats things. And again, have some design elements from other Digimon to represent that it's what it's eaten. Actually, looking at this, the original VPET for Digimon it looked like a cage that had been busted open. And I'm kind of wondering if that was the design intention, to make it look like a cage, to make it look like that original V-Pet. Um, if that's the case, if I would probably want to make it look more like that V-Pet, add a bit of concrete around it to sell that, as well as the maw. Overall, though, it's an okay design. This feels more like a Dragon Quest villain, or more like or a mob in a Dungeons and Dragons game, rather than a Digimon. It feels more like just your bog standard enemy. It's an okay design, but as a Digimon, I don't know if it particularly works. So to recap, I like that it looks like a mimic. I like the concept. Don't like that they didn't move forward with the different Digimon parts, and if I were to change it, I would maybe make it look a bit more like the V-Pet and add some recognizable Digimon parts. So yeah, 30 seconds. Digimon Adventure 1, 2, and Tamers are leaving Hulu in 12 days. That... Oh, if you guys have 12 days to see the first 3 seasons of Digimon. If you're ever looking to watch all of Digimon, and if you have the means, I highly recommend getting a hold of the box set. A while back, there was a box set of the first 4 seasons of Digimon on DVD. The quality is not the best. You know, you're dealing with standard definition, but it is readily available. They're not, the DVDs as of current time aren't too expensive. So if you're looking to get the entire Saban run of Digimon, that's a good start. I know Discotech is re-releasing going through the different seasons of Digimon. I know with Adventure they have it in, I think, high def. It's on Blu-ray, and they also have the Japanese dub as a separate Blu-ray. I would have preferred if they're in the same, but I understand there's some major differences. Same with O2. I think they're working on the Japanese dub of O2, but don't quote me on that. As for Tamers, I don't know if they're going to get to Tamers. It sounds like it takes them a while to do these, and I know they're also working on the movies. But yeah, this is the Digimon movie DVD is $29.99 on Amazon. Yes, if you can get the Discotech DVD movie DVDs, I highly recommend them. I did a review of the first DVD Blu-ray, and at some point I need to do a review of the second Blu-ray. I highly recommend picking them up, if only because it has the original film and the redubs. Discotech did an amazing job, and it makes me wonder what the third Blu-ray is going to be, because we still have the Frontier film and we had the X-Antibody film. Unfortunately, I don't know if they will do the X-Antibody film. That, I think, is one of those films that Toei may be a bit more protective of. Because believe it or not, how do I do this without making it look weird? I believe the X-Antibody film still has a website. At least last I checked. But that was about 3 or 4 years ago, so... But yeah, if you can, pick up the Blu-rays. This is one of the problems I have with streaming. It's very hard to find what you want to watch when they start moving around. I, for instance, have Crunchyroll, but I'm not too happy with their selection. And as my dad brings up, he wants to watch the anime with an English dub. Unfortunately, not all of Crunchyroll has the English dub. Not all of them have them because they're on Amazon, or they're on Hulu, or they're on Disney Plus. I am not getting Disney Plus. Disney already, they are a multimedia empire. I don't want to deal with Disney at this time. Maybe in the future, but I want my games back on Steam, Disney. Re-release them. But this is the Digimon Manual stream, not the Let's Rant About Disney stream. Minotaurmon. A dark Digimon possessing a strong dark side power. And just like that, Star Wars came back. Minotaurmon's movements are dull, but its extremely sturdy skin means that the average attack won't phase it. It uses its special move, Dark Side Quake, to cause an earthquake with the demon arm it has equipped on its left arm. This attack hits enemies with shockwaves over a wide area. No matter how far anyone runs, they cannot escape. How standard. We have a Minotaur. Although the way how the design looks like they went with random fursuit with an arm cannon, because I can see the zipper. I'm going to try and get all the Digimon DVDs. Sad the Adventure 01, they cut the TK gun scenes. To be fair, the gun scenes in Adventure 1 are one of the later sequences. One of the things I'll give with Saban, while they changed a lot, they did keep a good bit of the original stuff together. And outside of the memes, the gun scenes I don't think really do much for the show. Then again, I haven't seen the Japanese dub. If you do want to watch the original, like I said, Discotech has a Blu-ray of the Japanese dub with English subtitles. So there is that. But yeah, Minotaurmon. We basically have a suit with a zipper and a Minotaur monster. It reminds me a lot of Gorillamon and Centaurmon, and I forgot what the monkey's name is. Hold on. Edamon. How did I forget Edamon? Why would I forget Edamon? That's weird. But yeah, Minotaurmon reminds me a lot of Edamon, and I'm wondering if that was in the same design language. As for the design itself, I mean, it looks like cowboys from Moo Mesa. Looks like they would be in there in the episode, in the special edition episode where all of a sudden the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles appear. I joke, for those, the big zipper seems to be a recurring design element on a lot of Digimon, but usually on what are considered puppet type Digimon. That makes me think this guy's probably just a Numamon in a fursuit, like Monzemon. That wouldn't surprise me. That does not surprise me. As for the design, it does remind me of the cowboys from Moo Mesa. For those who don't know, that was done by the same guys that did Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And in fact, there's an episode of TMNT Fast Forward where the characters from that show briefly appear on it. Which was weird to me because, yeah, I wasn't expecting that. But weird television aside, we've got a fursuit with an arm cannon. I'm wondering if this arm cannon is a reference to Final Fantasy VII, because if I remember correctly, one of the characters has a cybernetic hand with a machine gun. I don't know if that was the idea, but some of these design things are weird. Given Gorillamon has an arm cannon and Centaurmon has an arm cannon, it might just be basic design language. As for the design itself, pretty basic Minotaur. Not much to really say. What I dislike about the design, Barrett. I think Minotaur came out before Final Fantasy VII. That okay then. That would well in that case. Well, I'm not saying Final Fantasy Hawk. They didn't. Not saying Final Fantasy copied Digimon, but it might just be coincidence. These things happen. Convergent evolution. As for what I so I like the concept. It's a basic Minotaur with a Gatling gun hand. As for what I dislike about the design, the fact that I'm seeing the zipper and seeing that as a fursuit is kind of catching me off guard. Because this just looks like a fursuit with a machine gun. And now that I'm seeing that, it is very disturbing. Anyway, as for what I would change, I would omit the zipper. I don't think the zipper is necessary. Do I think it gets the perfect? Not really. I mean, I know we give some of these designs easy reads, but I was wrong. Apparently, Final Fantasy came out a year before Minotaur Mon made its debut. So it's possible they may be referencing that. Oh, wait. It wouldn't, because designs like this take a good bit to come through. So the timeline fits, but it would be stretching things. I guess we'll never know. Unless one of the creators come out and say, "Oh yeah, we based it on Barrett." But yeah, I think they could have. I think if I were to change it to hit that perfect, omit the zipper and give it pants. That's like basically what I would do. You know, give Minotaur Mon pants, you'd get the perfect. No pants, no perfect. I think that's my say on this. And again, I'm remembering a lot of Cowboys and Moo Mesa. It's weird. But yeah, overall, it's an okay design. Bit bog standard, but not much else to say. What I like, easy to read. What I dislike, the zipper gets my attention and it's concerning. And if I were to change it, I would omit the zipper and give it pants. So, 30 seconds. Minotaur Mon didn't appear in any of the seasons, did he? Hold on. Let me check something. Because I don't think Minotaur Mon made an appearance in the anime. No, it actually appears in Fusion. Create a Minotaur. Okay, so apparently Minotaur Mon appeared in O2. It's one of our Arukenimons Digimon. That explains why I forgot about it. It means he appeared in one episode and then disappeared. That's one of the things I find with a lot of these designs. They're designs that you don't see too often, and then you realize, oh yeah, it's because they appeared once and then never used again. Majyama, I don't know how to pronounce that. A hairy, rare animal Digimon covered in thick white coat. It lives in remote snowy regions, making sightings quite rare. In spite of the various reports of how to pronounce it, encounters, no evidence has confirmed its existence. Okay, so we can move on. Okay. And so for a long time, the Digimon is considered to be a mere fantasy. A gentle creature that never shows any hostility. Doubt that. Even so, it treats its den and territory as sacred grounds. It does not forgive any who would invade its holy land. Its special move, Icicle Rod, hurls a massive icicle formed instantly from water in the atmosphere. And Boomerang Bone chucks the frozen bone of an ancient Digimon. Ashdes 9832, Mojiamon, breaking the economy of Digimon World since 1999. So, my only connection with this Digimon was in Digimon World 1. I know it did some trades that were a bit weird. And the only reason I know that is Smuck Squad did a stream where they looked, where that was one of the things that happened. They couldn't do a trade because they didn't have one low level item. Is this a common thing that this Digimon does? Is it like different Digimon World games they trade and it messes up the economy? Because I'm only aware of Digimon World 1. If they've changed things in different games, I don't know. As for the design itself, okay, it doesn't show it. Um, we've seen its recolor, which was a brown colored thing. Um, okay. Okay. Are you guys? Hello, hello. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Do you guys see me? Uh, a Yeti. Yeah. We have a Yeti Digimon. Uh, really, I don't have much to say about the design. Uh, it's a Yeti. If I were to change the design, it looks like a small little white Yeti. If I were to, what I like about the design, easy to read. I mean, but it's a white little fur ball. Uh, if I were to change it, what I dislike about the design, I think the hands and the feet. I think I would change the color a bit to make them stand out a bit more from the white fur. There is I think there's a baboon or some kind of monkey that is native to Japan that is known for its red face and it likes to go into hot springs. I could be wrong, but one of those type of, I think it's a macaque actually. But having take that design, maybe add the, well, no, that leads. Basically, what I'm saying is lean more towards that animal to basing off Mojimon. As for what I would change, base it on that monkey that I know likes to sit in hot springs in Japan. Hold on, let me look this up. Japanese macaque. I'm wondering if that was the original idea. But yeah, I would want to base this off of the Japanese macaque. Interesting design. Um, I'm not necessarily going to give it the It's a very recognizable Digimon, I will say that. And I think for that I'll give it the perfect. Just because it's a very recognizable design. And I don't really have much I can say that I dislike or I would change about it. I will say, can we please not have the flesh tone hands and legs? They're catching me off guard. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe add something more that indicates ice, like an ice necklace or an ice sickle club. But yeah, what I like about the design kind of reminds me of the Japanese macaques and as yetis. What I dislike, the hands and the feet. I don't like the flesh color. And if I were to change them, add an ice element and maybe change the color of the hands to something that isn't flesh toned. 30 seconds. And with that, I think we're going to end the stream this time. I think we've ended on a pretty good Digimon. So, plans for how this is going. Um, so I'm not going to be streaming next time because I have some personal things coming up that I'd like to deal with. Still working on the review. I think I'm going to do a few more of these, and then we're going to start doing Let's Plays of Digimon New World. Digimon World New World Order. Or one of the Digimon games. Because I'd like to try something different, but still Digimon connected. I'll put up a vote on the YouTube channel so that I can get what you guys are interested in. Remember to like and subscribe. Once we hit 500 subscribers, I'll look into opening up a Discord that will be open to everyone. Other than that, remember to check out Schmuck Squad. They're doing a stream this Saturday on DigiDestiny. And yeah. So I'll see you all there. And yeah. I'll see you all in about, like I said, keep subscribed, check and see how things are. I'll post news of how next stream is going to be. And I'll see you all there. So remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.